Hello everyone, welcome back to another close to my heart card making adventure. And today we're gonna make one of these 3 cards from the Celebrating You special that is going on right now. And I think we're gonna focus on this one, so I'm gonna put these 2 aside. And what's so special about these is that they have this really cool mechanism where you pull out a tab, you know, and you push it back in, and it's just really fun. So I'm gonna leave this here, and you will get full instructions and everything, including cutting guide and assembly, so you know how to put them together. But I figured it's always easier to give you a little heads up on how these things work. You also will get in your bundle, if you have the bundle, I mean, you can order it separately if you want to, but in your bundle you will have this stamp set. It's called You Deserve It All. It's got these cute little packages here and a couple phrases, but also these dies. One is for the package, one is for the pull out. In this case we're going to use this one here. And then we also have in the bundle the pull tab mechanism, which is this one. And I showed you in a previous video how to fold these together. So if you haven't seen this, I will link it in the bottom, and I also will put the description and a link to the special for this month. It's the month of August for the Celebrating You. So these are the things we need, and I already did a little bit pre-cutting and stamping. Oh, and if you're gonna look in our core catalog of July 2023, or until July 2023, you will find this gorgeous paper that we're using starting on page 10. It's called Celebrating You. And then the stamp set and the mechanism dies are on page 42. And you can see a couple more samples for the cards there as well. So let's get all our pieces. So I already got my pieces here all together. We need this little snippet and this one. Here's our card base. So normally what I would do is, before I assemble the outside of my card, I would stamp the inside with my phrase. So in this case it's gonna be a happy birthday card, so I would put my phrase on the inside, simply because in case something goes wrong when you're stamping it, you're not freaking out because the outside of your card is nicely done and decorated, and then you smudge somewhere on the inside while you were stamping the phrase. So if this happens, stamp your phrase first. In case this does not turn out, we just fold it over, crease it again, and then whatever didn't work out, we're gonna cover up anyway with our paper, and you can stamp it on the inside again. So remember, stamp your inside first to make sure everything goes smooth. All right, so here are our pieces and parts, and we have to do a little bit coloring, and then we go from there. So the first one is, make sure your card opens the right way, and then this will adhere flat to our card base. And we can do this. And yeah, you can use the back side too. I know it's sometimes hard to decide which side we want to use. And if you want the exact measurements of each piece for these cards, just contact me. And you can use this with other papers, and I show you a couple ideas for other occasions as well. So this is one piece. Now we have this one here, and we're supposed to rip it down. I think it says like 1/2 inch or something. So on either side, you just want to hold it and pull it towards you. Close to my heart paper has a white core, so it will expose the white core when you do that. So we do the other side as well. And There are other methods to get it a little bit more controlled if you have issues with it, but we're not gonna discuss those today here. So this goes somewhere in the center. Then we have these two little pieces, and they're kind of like centering behind this piece. So I would say they go around here if this is centered. Okay, let's pull this off. Let's take our two pieces. And they go all the way flush with the top and the bottom. And I'm just eyeballing it. I do have my VersaMat here, so I could check it out and make sure it's even. And what can I say? Dead even. So same as here. Do the same thing. And then this one goes right on top. Same thing. In the center. There you have it. Okay. Now, remember when we talked, and let me unfold this. So I run out a little bit of that polka dot paper that we were supposed to use because I use it for something else. So I made my own. So never mind what mine looks like. You might have that polka dot paper in your set that you cut. So remember when we were talking about how to fold these in the first video of this series? So you want to fold these back and back. And you make sure that you crease this nicely. This way I have these two cut out little tab thingies on the back of my fold, and I don't see it. Okay, and then we just close it. Hold it down for a second. Make sure it adheres. And then you want to take your front, you fold it in, you fold this one in, and then you fold a half moon back, like so. Okay, this is one tab. And this is our little piece, which we have to prep to. It's got two score lines here. So one is for, score it right here. And then the other one folds over this way. And you put a little bit adhesive on here. It doesn't matter if you don't want this small tab on the inside or the outside. I put mine on the outside because this side here will later go on my card, so we won't see it. I just make the sliding test, and it does slide perfectly. All right, now this part here, this one has to be raised so our slider can go easily up and down behind it. And if you have to, you want to use thin foam tape. And what I'm gonna do is, my thin foam tape is coming, so I'm using some foam tape I need to get rid of anyway. And I'm using my non-stick scissors, which are awesome, and I just cut this in half because it doesn't need to be that wide. And we're sticking it down here on either side. up here. And this is just so it's not caving in on you. You know, when you send it in the mail. Okay. All right. So now you have to take this piece, and I just fold these two halves up so I can stick them here through my slit in the paper together. And there's my first thing. Do not put your tape over this cutout. So I have to remove just a little bit, which is fine. It's on the back side. Okay, so you have to leave this area open because we want to slide it and pull it out, otherwise it doesn't work. Okay, so again, we push these two little knobs, half circles through here, and fold them over. Okay, and then this one needs to be free, so when you pull it up, it slides up and down, like so. It's a little wobbly yet because we're not quite there yet with everything else, but this is how it looks like for now. Okay, next we need to color our little package in. Now when you put these two pieces together, here's another little tip. As you can see here, this corner is wide open. Here's a little line for a corner. You want to make sure this shows in the upper left corner. Reason being, if I turn this around and I try to center my top, and this would be centered, see what happens? My ribbon does not line up perfectly. It's a little off, which is not a big deal. It's not a bad thing, but if you put this little edge up in the upper left corner and you center it, then see how nicely now our ribbon lines up. So make sure, if this is something that bothers you, to look out for, so it's not sticking out or to the side. And I have to apologize, my yellow marker, I can't find my one yellow, so I'm using my old one, which is just one color for the base, but that's fine. And then we will shade this with my orange that I have here. So, and you can use any color you want. We could have used Lagoon here, or a dark blue. You could color in your package instead of the bow and left the bow white. Whatever you want to do is fine. I'm just doing a quick job here. And then do the ribbon. And we go back with, so this is our tri-band marker. This is the burnt orange blend, and like I said, you can use any color you like. And I'm just putting some highlights in here. And it looks weird, I know, when you do this at the beginning, but once we're done with everything, you will see how they nicely blend together. And they come in 3 different hues, so easy for you to determine which colors go together. It's not like in the old days when you had to guess, okay, does this work? Does this work? Well, they will work together. And now I just go over with my yellow again to smoothen out this edge here a little bit. And alcohol markers take a moment to dry, seep into the paper. So sometimes you still see those lines, but once it's completely dry, they disappear. And everything blends together. And you can use other markers too. I mean, you don't have to use alcohol markers. If you have other markers you want to color something in, you can use watercolors. Whatever you have on hand. So let's have this dry up a little bit. So now let's do the ribbon down here. And we just give it a little bit orange edge. And then we go over one more time with the yellow. Okay. When you ask when it's good to use the chisel edge of your, or the fine, it doesn't really matter. I just use the chisel on those old markers because it's easier to color quickly. Okay, I think we're good. Let's leave it with that for now. Oh, and to define the edge here a little bit, as you can see here, I can use, let's do the burnt orange. So what you want to do is you just go right along the edge here. And we can do the bottom, even so we won't see it, but we know it's there. All right. So now these two go together, and then as you can see here in my example, I used some diamond stickles and just give it a little glitter, but you don't have to. So next thing we want to remember, okay, so this piece is gonna pull out. So if you flip it over, we have to put a little bit foam tape on the outside here, but we have to make sure that we're not getting it too tight or too close to where we pull it in and out. It's just a fine line because you don't want it to jiggle naturally, but you don't want it to really stick heavily to everything. So what I do is I make sure that mine is lined up perfectly. I hold them together, I flip them over, and then I put my tape around here. Okay. This one can go on the bottom here. And then this one, same thing. I have to shorten this a little bit. If you don't have our non-stick scissors, I highly recommend them because it's so awesome. Nothing sticks to them. Okay, so now you can see my piece has free, let me pull this up. It can freely move in and out. It has a little room, but not too much. And it sits right here. Okay, now how do we get these two together? So one thing we want to do is we take our little piece that we made, slide it down to about right underneath the opening, so you don't see it from this side, you know, it's disappeared, but it's right here in the back. And then we have to add a little bit adhesive on here. Oops, not that much. Let me take some off because we don't want this to stick. Okay, to our mechanism. So there's a little bit. Now we remove all the paper. And just give it a good hold. You flip it over and then you put it right here to the edge. And you hold this down here a little bit because this is this little white piece that we just adhered. And what this white piece does, it's like a guide. So your top doesn't wiggle back and forth. It stays nice and tight. Okay, let's see. Let's give it a try. Here we go. See how nicely it goes up and down? And I don't know if you can see. Let's check. You can't see the white thing. So this white piece that we just assembled, let me show you here. So what this does, if you don't have this and you pull it up, I have my foam tape till here, so it would only have the chance to wiggle to these two ends. But if you have this piece around and you adhere this to the card base as we just did, so it kind of holds it straight. So when you pull it up and down, this part is held by that notch that we cut, and then the rest of your pull-out tab is held in place by this little thing. And I like to keep mine right up here so it stays nice and straight. Okay, now the next part is a little bit trickier, but nothing we can't handle. Okay, let's center this. Now this part, I have to hold this in place here. So this is how it should look like. We keep these together. We make sure that this one is pushed all the way down. So there's our little contact. And then this needs to go here at one point in time. So how do we get this together? The problem is if you do this separately, you will never line it up. What you have to do, you really have to be careful now, but this is how it works. First of all, make sure this is nicely together. It sits on top of each other how you want it to sit. Like there. Okay. Hold these two pieces together, put them down, lay them down. Remove the backing. Try not to move this piece anymore. Then we need a big glue dot. And I like, there's a big glue dot, and that covers pretty much this piece. So what I like to do is I like to take my glue dot, and I see the edge here, put it on here, rub it down. That's why it's important that you crease these pieces really good so they stay open. Pull this up. There we go. So now we have our glue dot right on here. See there on both sides. And you want to keep this open. Nice and open. Now we take our piece, and if you move it, it's fine. You just can't touch the adhesive because it's already exposed. Just make sure you line it up. Hold these two things together, and I recommend holding it from the top because these three sides we have to pull on. And then make sure this is pushed down. We're gonna place this like a 1/4 inch off the bottom, center it, and then just let go. See how I was holding it down with my finger? And you want to make sure you rub a little bit down here to adhere this part to our glue dot there. And then magically, if we did everything right, you pull this up and there's your happy birthday. You push it down, there goes your happy birthday. Sometimes it takes a little to, you know, roughen out the edges of the cutting that we did, that slit, but here you go. You want a little bit resistant. You don't want it to be too loose. And then all that's left is we're gonna cut this part off about here, and actually while it's pushed in, and then we take our little tab, fold it on the crease line, and remember that crease line was there given to us by the die. I pull it out, put a little bit of adhesive here, and then just line it up with my tab, fold it over, keep it down for a couple seconds, and here we have it. So there's our little slider mechanism. Wasn't that hard? And I tell you, it goes easier the more you practice with this, but it's really not a hard thing once you know how to put them together. And one thing you want to remember when you put on those stars, so these are those white stars that came with the set, and I had a little piece somewhere, leftovers. They're white acrylics, and I just used my orange marker to put a little bit orange on here, and I can go over them again so they get a little bit darker. And this only works with your alcohol markers, so if you have watercolors or others, they will not work, but the the markers will work. And then I just take a dot where I want to place mine. There's one, and there's the other, and then we just set them in place. And let this dry for a while. So when you place them, remember when you pull your card out that they're not too close or over here on this side, otherwise you will not be able to pull your piece out. It gets stuck there. So we can toss this, and if you feel like it, you can put decorations on there. Like I said, I used some stickles, crystal. What happened to my diamond? Diamond stickle went missing. It's somewhere here. Or you can use whatever you have on hand. Well, then we just use this one here. I'm sure I put them somewhere upside down so they can, oh, speaking of, that's what I did. There they are. Okay, and then I just went carefully squeeze, and then just go along the edges. every other one. In this case, you can do every one. If you have other stickle colors, you can use those. Shimmer brush will work fine. There are many other ways of giving this a little bit more bling. And I just thought that the glitter makes it a little bit more festive. And so we finish this one. All right, here you have it. Remember to put in your inside phrase, and then these are the two. Let me put some adhesive down here too. And hold it down. So here you have your two cards with the pull-up mechanism and a happy birthday. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have questions. Like I said, if you need the instructions or the exact measurements for these type of cards, let me know. If you have other questions about the mechanism, feel free to post them. I will check them and let you know. Otherwise, I hope you had fun, and we will do 2 more coming up. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.